Andrew Ferenbach.
Hello, thank you. Okay, so I have to begin my routine with a little history lesson. Back to the days of the 90s. I know some of you weren't there to enjoy it with me, but in those days, there was no search engines. If you wanted the answer to the question, it was the encyclopedia or nothing, or someone with lots of knowledge. And as a result, we would actually read problem pages for giggles, because people would ask stuff about, growing up, being a teen, which I was in the 90s. And they would ask with a straight face, or at least I assume so, questions like, is it true that if you shave your legs, your periods stop? If you produce too much sperm, do your testicles explode? Genuine questions. And you'll see where I'm going with this. Is basically there was a surprising amount of ignorance going on. People would actually believe that if a guy became aroused, it would never go away unless he had sex or whacked off. And there was no Google to say this is a filthy lie. Anyway, you'll see where I'm going with this in a second. So, when I was growing up as a teenager in the 90s, I suffered from seasonal allergies. Terrible business. Dust. Ugh. And so every winter the dust would accumulate, yada yada, some dust mites would get their busy on, and as a result I would have headaches and rashes and generally be kind of miserable. And I'll always remember a dear friend of mine, she asked me, hey, what's up with you? And I said, I've been feeling kind of terrible, it's my time of the year. And the look of total confusion on her face, which was so kind of it was like she suddenly thought, wait a minute, are you telling me men have periods and it goes on once a year? True story. Hey, fast forward a few years, I graduated high school, went to university, and that self-same friend, who will remain anonymous, bless her, she got a whole bunch of flatmates who may or may not be not the sharpest tools in the shed. And one fateful day, I was at their place, and they actually had a teapot. Yeah, they were that classy. And and for reasons that I, to this day, do not understand, I thought, and I grabbed the lid of their teapot and gave it a little, and by a million to one shot, they happened to take the same tea as my grandmother, which is Lapsang Souchong, which is, I don't know why you even make that. It smells like ashtrays. Anyway, so I took one sniff, and instantly I had flashbacks. But then I sort of, keeping my cool, went, Lapsang Souchong, put it back. And they all were like, wow, he identified our tea just by sniffing our teapot lid. I'm like, seriously, a blind dog 2 blocks over could identify that. But I thought, hey, these guys look up to me, so I liked that. And a moment, later on that self-same evening, I was like, listening, and out in the hall I heard someone going, hello there, is that Mexico Express? Yeah, I'd like to order one of your big combos, please. Yeah, don't worry, I'll come and collect it. Because, no credit cards, or at least most students didn't have credit cards. Then they come back to the flat with a couple of anonymous-looking brown bags, and I take one look and go, Mexico Express. And they're like, oh my God, he identified the, they were like telling stories about me for weeks afterwards. It's like, this guy, he identified our takeaway by just the look of the bags. Anyway, but like I said, if they don't have full grasp of the facts, then they don't see where things are going. Anyway, just as years later, I went backpack shopping. I know I'm hopping around in time, but this is all chronological. And I'm a very discerning shopper when it comes to backpacks. I wanted a backpack with just the right number of zippers, comfy straps, not too expensive, you get the idea. And I went from shop to shop to shop, and at shop number 4, I found one that was pretty darn close to the kind of backpack I could see myself wearing for a while. But I said to the guy in the store, tell you what, I'm backpack shopping, so I'm going to go to the next shop, and if they don't have anything I'm looking for, I'm going to come back and I'm going to buy their backpack. And he's like, all right. I could tell in his eyes he didn't believe me. He thought, I'm not going to see that guy again. Anyway, I go to the next backpack shop, and all I see is garbage. So I walk right back into that second fourth, whatever, backpack shop, and I walk on up. And clearly there'd been the manager had shown up or something. So the manager starts sauntering towards me, and I walk in, and I just see the guy behind the check and go, and he walks right on over, grabs the backpack, takes it through to the checkout and rings it up. And the manager's brain is falling out of his ears. He's like, what just happened? The guy just went, Anyway, like I said, didn't have full grasp of the facts. Okay, now Here's the big finish, is years ago, when I was a backpacker in Australia, me and my buddy worked as telemarketers, and we had awful shifts, literally working like 6 a.m. until noon. And how are you going to go out if you're working 6 a.m. until noon? You have to get up in the morning. So, power nap. That was the key. So we would come back from our shift at 12:30, we would undress, jump into our pajamas, jump into bed separately, I hasten to add. Anyway, that's the point was, we were half asleep after our shifts. Then we'd wake up, we'd shower, put on nice fresh underwear, and get ready for the day. Then one fateful day, clearly I was extra not asleep. Not awake. I was very asleep. A friend of mine shows up, and he's like, "Hey guys, ready to go out?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And then I thought to myself, and I had a funny feeling. I thought, something's not sitting right. And I was like, wait a minute. I made a few sort of random movements of my pelvis. And I was like, hold on. And the guy was looking at me confused. And I said, oh, hold on a second. Reached into the waistband of my trousers and then... And the look of total confusion on his face. It was the previous day's underwear. But he thought I pulled it through my legs. Anyway, thank you guys. You've been wonderful.
One more time for Andrew.